You forgot someone's name at a party. Right there, mid-conversation, you drew a complete blank. Or maybe you accidentally said the wrong word, called your new girlfriend by your ex's name. Everyone laughed. You laughed. "I'm so bad with names," you said. Or, "Just a slip of the tongue." But here's what nobody asks. Why that name? Why that specific word? Out of the thousands of names stored in your memory, why did your mouth choose that one? Was it random? Just neurons misfiring? Or did your brain select it, pick it deliberately from some hidden catalogue you don't control? The answer everyone gives, "It was just a mistake," isn't an answer. It's a label. It names the phenomenon without explaining it. The real explanation means your conscious mind, everything you think of as you, is a tiny, well-lit room sitting on top of a vast, locked basement. And the basement is running the show. You just don't know it yet. Let's be specific. You meet Sarah at work. Nice person. You like her. But for some reason, you keep calling her Susan. You catch yourself doing it. You apologize. You do it again. "I'm just confused," you say. Wrong. Your ex-girlfriend was Susan. The breakup was messy. Anger, guilt, unfinished business. And now, 6 months later, you think you're over it. You think you've moved on. But your mouth doesn't think so. Your mouth chose Susan because somewhere in your mind, a place you can't see or access, that relationship is still being processed. The feelings are still active. Every time you say Susan instead of Sarah, you're not making a mistake. You're leaking. The slip isn't random. It has a cause, which raises the question, what is this unconscious thing exactly? Where are these thoughts hiding? Most people, if you ask them, say, the unconscious is thoughts you're not aware of. And that sounds fine until you notice it's completely circular. Unconscious means not conscious. You've just restated the word, you haven't explained anything. Sharper question. Where are these thoughts? What are they made of? Are they like files sitting on a shelf in your brain waiting to be retrieved? No, that's just a memory problem. You forgot something, then you remember it. The preconscious works that way. You're not thinking about what you had for lunch right now, but if I ask, you can recall it. Pull it up. Easy. The unconscious is different. These aren't thoughts you forgot. They're thoughts you cannot access. Not because you're trying and failing, because something is actively keeping them from you. By what? By whom? By you. Against yourself. Freud's model of the mind has layers. At the top, you have consciousness. What you're aware of right now? Below that, the preconscious. Memories and knowledge you can recall when needed. And beneath both, the unconscious. Memories, desires, impulses you cannot access. Why can't you access them? Because there's a censor, a gatekeeper. Think of it like a bouncer at a club. Some thoughts get waved through to consciousness. Others get blocked at the door. Well, not exactly a person. More like a process. Automatic. Always running. The sensor protects you. It keeps out thoughts that would cause you anxiety, shame, unbearable conflict. Without it, you'd be overwhelmed. You need it to function. But here's the thing. The thoughts don't disappear just because they're blocked. They stay down there, active, alive. Let me prove it to you. You dream you're flying. Or your teeth fall out, or you're naked in public and everyone's staring. You wake up and think, weird dream, made no sense. Wrong. It made perfect sense. It's just disguised. Freud's method was free association. The patient describes the dream, then says whatever comes to mind for each element. No editing, no that's too silly, just follow the chain. Example, you dream of a house burning down. You're watching it burn. Free association. House reminds you of your childhood home. Fire reminds you of your father's. Temper, how he'd explode, terrifying. Watching it burn gives you a strange feeling, relief. Aha. You wish unconsciously that your father would disappear, vanish from your life. But you can't think that consciously. Too threatening. You love him. You're supposed to love him, so the unconscious disguises the wish. The house burns. You're just an observer. You're not responsible. This is wish fulfillment in code. The dream lets you have the forbidden thought without having to own it. But wait, why code? Why not just think it directly? Because your conscious mind can't handle it. You need to repress certain thoughts to function. Consider this. You're furious at your mother. Real rage, years of accumulated resentment. Maybe she was cold, critical, never satisfied with you. But society says, love your mother. She sacrificed for you. You're a monster if you don't appreciate her. So now you have conflict. Unbearable conflict. The rage is real, but you can't admit it. Not to others, not even to yourself. Solution: push the rage down. Repress it. Forget it's there. Repression is an active process of keeping thoughts unconscious. It's not passive forgetting like where you left your keys. It's active exile. You're continuously expending energy to keep that thought out of awareness. The rage doesn't vanish. It stays in the unconscious. Still there, still alive, still pushing to get out. Like a prisoner pounding on the door of the basement. And sometimes it escapes. The thought finds a way out, just not directly. Disguised. Freud treated a woman who couldn't drink water from a glass. A phobia of glasses, no medical reason. Doctors were baffled. Under hypnosis, a memory surfaced. Years earlier, she'd walked into a room and saw her governess, a woman she disliked, let her little dog drink water from a glass. The woman's glass. Disgusting. It filled her with rage and disgust, but she was polite, well-bred. She couldn't say anything. She swallowed the anger, repressed it. Fast forward years. She develops a phobia. She can't drink from glasses. The repressed disgust and fury found an indirect route to consciousness through a symptom. Or take this, a man hates his boss. Can't stand him, but he needs the job, can't quit, can't express the hatred. So he develops a mysterious hand tremor. Now he can't write reports properly, can't complete assignments. Unconscious solution: sabotage the work without having to feel conscious guilt. These are symptoms, compromises between what the unconscious wants to express and what consciousness can tolerate. Actually, Freud thought all behavior works this way, not just symptoms, your personality, your career, your relationships. You say you became a therapist because you wanted to help people. That's the conscious reason, but maybe, unconsciously, you need to feel superior, to control others, to fix what broke in your own childhood. You're replaying a dynamic you can't see. You fall in love, she's perfect, you insist. You have so much in common. But maybe she reminds you of your mother. Same tone of voice, same way of criticizing, same need for reassurance. You're not aware of it. You'd deny it if someone pointed it out. But unconsciously, you're drawn to her because she lets you replay unresolved childhood conflicts. Freud's claim: you are driven by forces you do not see. Most of your mind is underwater. You know the iceberg metaphor. Only the tip floats above the surface. Consciousness is the tip. The vast bulk of your mental life is submerged, invisible to you. Your thoughts, your desires, your choices, they feel like yours, but they're shaped by processes you can't access. Let us be honest, this is disturbing. If you don't know why you do things, if unconscious drives are pulling the string, are you in control? Freud's answer: not really, not as much as you think. Your choices are rationalizations. You decide something, then you invent reasons that sound good, that fit your self-image. But the real reasons are hidden. Example: you choose chocolate cake over fruit. Why? Conscious answer: I deserve a treat. I worked hard today. But unconsciously, Freud would say, you have an oral fixation from being weaned too early as an infant. The pleasure of eating chocolate, its texture, its sweetness, connects to an unmet need from infancy. Sounds absurd? Maybe. But notice, you can't actually explain why chocolate feels comforting. You can't trace the causal chain. You just insist that it does, that you like it. The explanation is hidden from you. Or, put it another way, Freud's model means you're a stranger to yourself. The person you think you are, your conscious self-image, is partial, edited, sanitized. The real you is consciousness plus unconscious. And you only ever meet half, which raises the question, can you know the unconscious? Freud's answer: yes, but only indirectly. You can't look at the unconscious directly. By definition, you can't access it. But it leaks through slips of the tongue, through dreams, through symptoms, through what you choose to forget or remember. The unconscious can't speak plainly. Repression blocks it, but it expresses itself symbolically. The analyst's job is to interpret the symbols, to decode the message. Here's how it worked in practice. Patient: I dreamed of a tunnel and a train. Freud: sexual imagery. The tunnel represents the womb or the vagina. The train is phallic, represents the penis. Patient: that's ridiculous. I wasn't thinking about sex at all. Freud: your resistance proves I'm right. You're defending against the truth. The stronger your denial, the more certain I am the interpretation is correct. See the problem? It's a catch-22. If you agree with the interpretation, Freud is right. If you disagree, that's just resistance, which means Freud is still right. The theory is unfalsifiable. But Freud insisted over time patterns emerge. The patient starts to see the connections themselves. The symptom begins to make sense, and when it makes sense, when the unconscious wish is brought into consciousness, the symptom often disappears. This is what should break your brain. If the unconscious is defined as what you cannot access, and bringing something to consciousness changes it, makes it no longer unconscious. Can you ever truly know you're unconscious? Think about it. The moment you become aware of an unconscious wish, it stops being unconscious. It's now conscious. So what you're aware of is only what was unconscious a moment ago. What's unconscious now, you can't know. You'd have to make it conscious to know it, which changes it. And even when you think you've uncovered an unconscious wish, say you realize you resent your father, how do you know that's the real wish? Maybe that's just another disguise. Maybe there's a deeper layer beneath. You don't resent your father. You resent yourself for failing to live up to his expectations, which you've projected onto him. Or maybe beneath that, there's an even deeper wish. Infinite regression. You can never be sure you've hit bottom. Actually, Freud didn't worry much about this problem. He treated it pragmatically. If the symptom goes away after analysis, if the patient gets better, then the interpretation worked. Truth equals therapeutic effectiveness, not logical proof. The goal isn't perfect self-knowledge, it's reducing suffering. Circle back to the beginning. You forgot Sarah's name, you called her Susan. Now you understand it wasn't random, it wasn't bad memory. Your unconscious is still processing the ex-girlfriend. Maybe you have unresolved feelings, guilt about how it ended, lingering desire you won't admit, anger you haven't expressed. Whatever it is, it's alive down there, and your mouth betrayed you. It said what your conscious mind wouldn't. And here's the thing, everyone is doing this constantly. All day, every day, we walk around leaking our unconscious, slips of the tongue, jokes that reveal what we really think, dreams every night, habits we can't break, fears we can't explain, choices we rationalize afterward. All of it, coded messages from the basement, but we don't notice. We can't notice because noticing would be threatening. Easier to laugh off the slip, to forget the dream, to insist our choices are rational, which means civilization itself is a kind of mass repression. Freud's larger claim, society requires repression. You can't have civilization if everyone acts on every impulse, every sexual desire, every aggressive urge. We destroy each other, so we repress. We channel those drives into something acceptable. We sublimate, turn sexual energy into art, aggressive energy into work, forbidden desires into culture. That's how civilization gets built. But the cost is high. We become strangers to ourselves, neurotics divided. The conscious self versus the unconscious drives. It's a permanent war, and you're both sides. Is there escape? Can you integrate the unconscious, become whole? Freud was not optimistic. He said analysis has no end. The best you can do is convert neurotic misery into ordinary unhappiness. Next question. If the unconscious really is running the show, what exactly is down there? What drives are we repressing? That's a different investigation. The instincts, sexuality, the death drive. I've got to stop somewhere, but you get the idea. You're not who you think you are, and now you can't unknow that.